warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, class. How are you today? I hope you're fine and always fighting on your study. Okay, class. This time we will continue our study about recount text. Have you ever heard about recount text? Okay. Next. So this learning you will be able identification social function, text structure, and linguistic in the recount text according to the context of their use. Number 2, analyzing social function, text structure, linguistic element in narrative text according to context which it is used. Number 3, compile the sentences into paragraphs in the form recount text personal experiences that have occurred. Number 4, present recount text experiences properly and confidently and politely. Okay, here your steps. Number 1, you will learn about the definition about recount text. Number 2, after definition, you will learn about the example of recount text. And then number 3, you will study about generic structure of recount text. And the last, about language feature of the recount text. Okay, now what is recount text? Recount text is about speaking or writing about past events. And here is the example of recount text. Number 1, newspaper report. And then number 2, conversation. 3, speech. Number 4, television interviews. Number 5, letters. And number 6, in eyewitness account. Okay, class. Now let's study about the generic structure. The generic structure of recount text, we have 3 parts. The part 1 is orientation. The orientation usually placed in the first paragraph. The first paragraph that gives background information about who, what, where, and when. And the second part, the generic structure, is series of events. The series of events usually consists of several paragraphs. Third, fourth, fifth, etc. The second or third paragraph that retell events in the order in which they happen. And the last generic structure is reorientation. In the reorientation, you usually place in the last paragraph a concluding paragraph that consists of impression, suggestion, or feeling of the writer. Okay, next, we learn about language feature. The language feature of recount text is number 1, Use past tense to retell the events. Always past tense. Because you retell about something that happened. Okay, the next language feature is use words that show the order of events, such as first, next, then, etc. And the next language feature, use descriptive words to give details about who, what, when, where, and how. Describe it. Okay. Next, we using temporal sequence on Sunday, on Monday, and etc. And the next language feature is using action verb. For example, you can use when, stayed, and then at, and etc. The next language feature is focus on specific participant. Focus on specific participant is I, we, or the writer. And then the next language feature using conjunction, such as then, before, after, and etc. Let's analyze this recount text. As you remember, the recount text consists of three parts. Number one is orientation. Number two is series of events. And the last is reorientation. Okay, here we go. The first is orientation. Orientation usually placed in the first paragraph. Let's see. Here. One day, I had to teach a new English class. I read the list of new students' names. It was Katie's group since they were about 9 and 10 years old. Okay, that is the orientation. Okay, next, series of events. Okay, you remember that series of events consists of 2 or 3 paragraphs. Let's see. Okay, we have 2 paragraphs here. That was the first day of the Spanish Carnival, so I want to wear the most appropriate suit for the children's class. Most kids usually dress up at Carnival, I thought. It would be more interesting if their teacher was also in Carnival spirit. That was why I decided to wear my teddy bear suit and bring cuddly toys in my box. And that was what I did. I walked through the door happily. The director watched me completely astonished. I smiled and looked straight at her. With the man beside her, he said, "Good afternoon. I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Mendes, the director of Delta Company. He is one of the participants of the English course that you will teach today." Okay. That is series of events. And the last, reorientation. Reorientation usually plays in the last paragraph. Let's see. Okay, here. Oh my God, I near that. The secretary apologized to me and for the wrong detail of my new class. Okay, class. That is how to analyze the recount text. Can you? Okay, enough for today lesson. See you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.